Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Live Beyond Average podcast. I'm your host, Jordan Miller, here alone again today in the podcast studio. Happy November. It is November 2nd, and November's awesome. All you hunters that are listening, you know why. I don't even need to talk about it. We have a lot of cool podcasts coming up on some neat subjects. We ran a little questionnaire poll on Instagram stories last week. Wanting to know and hear from you guys about what subjects you wanted to hear on some future podcasts, and we have some cool hunting ones lined up for you guys coming up in the coming week. Today, the subject I'm going to hit, since I'm by myself, we did get a question in from somebody on how we got really started with our new supplement business, Seeker Supplements, that we started a little over a year ago. It was like last August, September, we started actually selling. The business opened earlier than that because we had registered and everything, but started actually pre-selling in August, selling in September. So we've been at it for just over a year, about 14 months. So give you a little backstory on that. So the question was, how did we get started with it, and what are our plans for future growth and how we're doing? So I'll touch on that quick today. So for some of you who don't know, I started Run to Gun, which was initially started to train hunters and outdoorsmen to get in shape for outdoor hunts, adventures, and things like that. All the way back, I graduated in 2011 and started working on it right after that. So a long time. I graduated with a degree in sports exercise and wellness, and wanted to really find a way, as I was watching my hunting mentors, my great-grandfather, or my grandfather, my great-uncles, who had cabin, their houses filled with amazing taxidermy, stories upon stories of these amazing hunts, deer, elk, bighorn sheep, mountain goat, everything that a young kid dreams about, right? And as we even go into adults, it's still all I dream about. So those guys meant a lot to me. My dad even taking me out so much and teaching me all the morals and ethics of hunting. But as I was growing older, I saw my mentors, like my great uncles and my grandfather, stop applying for some of these hunts they had over 30 years preference points on applying for, because they didn't think they were physically ready. So it was kind of meant to be, in the sense of my passions within hunting and fitness growing up meshed together, and was something I was interested in doing in college, majoring and learning about. So I took that concept out right after college and started working on it and started Run to Gun. It was really funny. I was sitting down. I was training at a gym in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and this was back in 2012. And I had a guy that was helping me with some design stuff, some media deck work to take to companies for sponsorship dollars, because we're going to start our TV show. And he was a good friend of mine, really talented, and he was just spitballing ideas back and forth. And we got on the subject of, dude, someday let's branch this off into a supplement line. It'd be awesome. It fits it. It'd be great. And that was a dream of ours early on. And a friend of mine, Dylan Morris, he was the one sitting with me. And it was really funny when we started this. I texted him right away because I hadn't seen him in several years. He lives on the other side of the state from me. And, we kind of reminisced a little bit about that, how many years ago that was, and how the hard work had turned into the fruition of this actually happening. And so we had gotten into, last year, and we had felt like our brand had, over all those years, felt like our brand was finally strong enough to maybe pull off something like this. And so we decided to start our own supplement brand called Seeker Supplements, and did that last year, 2019, and here we are today. So we started off with a mental focus, hydration, energy drink mix to start the show. That was where I really wanted to start our supplement. It's not like we were backed with a bunch of money. I don't have a boatload of money to throw at something like this. Wasn't taking out a giant loan. So I started really small. I started with one supplement, one flavor. Pomegranate lime really took a leap on something that isn't a well-known flavor. It's kind of risky. But my mindset on it was I wanted something totally different that was super refreshing. And the company I was working with, that was I formulated this, what I wanted in the ingredients, did all the research. I had worked for a supplement company leading up to this, so I had learned a lot. I'd worked on the back end of on the franchise side, so I had learned a lot about supplements. And so I formulated it, worked with the company, their chemists, to formulate it perfectly, to come up with a great flavor profile. We went back and forth and really perfecting this, and came out with this very first flavor, pomegranate lime. And originally it was like this red flavor, or red color, and I was like, the flavor was perfect. The guy emailed me, he's like, hey, we have it finished up. He's like, everybody in the warehouse, everybody in the office tested it, and they're like losing their minds over how good it is. And so I was pumped. I got it. It was like this pinkish red flavor. Got it in. I was like, right. It was amazing flavor. Something wasn't right. I'm like, dude, we need a different color. I was like, hey, make this like a killer green, bright green, and we're good to go. So they brought it back, and I should have it drink today. I'm drinking the black cherry today. But for those of you who have seen it, you know how fun our colors are with these. So that was something, a differentiator as well, in my mind, from a marketing branding side. What I want supplements to be. I want supplements to be fun. I want them to taste amazing. I want them to be refreshing. I want them to be high quality. All those things mixed together are very important to me. But these little things that just like stand out are important from a marketing and branding side in my mind. And I don't really think about it in that sense when I'm coming up with the idea. But that's really what it is. And so we did that. We launched it. And it went over really well. Actually, after like the first 3 months, I was building up enough funds where I was like, dude, I probably need to come out with a second flavor. And it's expensive to get into this game. You're buying a lot of inventory once you're designing a label, you're testing the product. You're not just buying like 100 units, you know what I mean? Like, you're buying a lot of inventory, so it's a lot of money up front. You have to have some funds, and so luckily we were building up the funds to get to that second flavor, and I had about half of what I needed to buy a whole second order of flavor. But it takes me about 12 weeks, 12 to 14 by the time I start like designing it. If everything goes good, formulating, designing the labels, everything back and forth, testing, getting the product tested when it's finished, making sure everything that's in it is what it is, and then the final formulation, bottling, labeling, shipping it out to me. So doing all this in the United States. And so I'm looking at my bank account, and I'm like, okay, like I really want to come out with a second flavor. Probably should. I have half the money I need to make an order. So I'm like, I'm just judging at how sales are going. If it takes me 12 weeks, by the time I have to pay half up front. So I pay half up front for my order, which is all the money I have. I'm like, in 12 weeks, can I sell the rest, sell enough to pay the second half of this order, pay my sales taxes, I took out a very small loan to help get started, pay my loan payment. Gonna be tight, gonna be risky. So I'm like, perfect, let's go for it. So went for it, started formulating the second flavor, and I honestly can't remember the second flavor that I had requested. I have the bottle somewhere upstairs, but I sent it out, and they sent me out a couple other flavors as well that they were just working on. And it's ironic, the flavor I requested I actually didn't like, and then a flavor that they had specially made for me it's our countryside strawberry. It was actually a strawberry with a slight hint of like back mint to it. We call it countryside strawberry. They are actually calling it at the time strawberry mojito. And so I had that, and I was like, oh my gosh, like it was a flavor. It totally matched like the lightness, the refreshingness that we did with the pomegranate lime. And I wanted to stick with that same style and really establish that was the style of supplements that we were going to provide. So at the time, the color was like a little off, so I had them adjust the color to that. It was like straight red. I think I had them lighten it up to like a pinkish red, a little lighter, and then the mint was actually a little strong. So I had them pull back the mint. So back and forth for a couple weeks, perfecting it. Label design, I kind of missed that on the pomegranate lime. I originally had used the label really simple, but I wanted it different than all the other supplement brands out there. So we actually use a photo from a shot that my brother took mule deer hunting of an awesome mule deer that I had shot with my bow. I had actually missed him for 2 years on public land. Missed him 1 year, missed him again the following year. Didn't think I'd ever see him again. Wasn't even going to hunt him because I was obsessed with him. I just wanted to let it be. And ironically ran into him a third time that following year and smoked him on film. And so really cool photo of, you know, him on the back, on a pack, packed up, overlooking this killer Badland Basin that we shot him in. So really just establishing that look in that feel of like, I kind of relate it to in the sense of like Red Bull. So Red Bull has, you know, tons of people drink Red Bull, but think about like Red Bull's marketing, right? You see their commercials and there's dudes doing backflips on their dirt bikes or skydiving, very intense extreme sports. Well, none of us that drink that do those things, right? But it's very, like it's an empowering feeling, it's aspirational. And that's kind of what I wanted those first labels to be with us, is just that like aspirational, awesome feeling that's not necessarily you on there, but you know, you can actually do that. It's inspiring, it's empowering when you have that bottle and label in your hand. So second one was Countryside Strawberry, and I wanted it to be a little bit different. And I have a photo of me and my daughter on our first turkey hunt together. I'm not a big turkey hunter, but I wanted to take her out. She was like 3 years old, and we got a turkey. And another photo my brother shot with, you know, this turkey over my back. I'm holding her, and this killer landscape of literally the countryside. You know, it's spring, so it's green. It really matches the name of the product. So kind of really cool ode to my little girl, first daughter. So first and only daughter. On that label, really neat. And then we were just moving along, and at that point, so we had launched that first pomegranate lime in like, you know, August. It was available in September. I had the Countryside Strawberry available like right after the new year of 2020. So I think that was in January we started selling that, and we have sold a crazy amount of the Countryside Strawberry. We're actually running pretty low on the palm lime, and Countryside Strawberry is catching it as well. So those two flavors have gone unreal. The next product we moved into in 2020 was our Live Beyond Average drinkable multivitamin, and now it's actually working on that all the way back in like September and October of 2019. And I had it, you know, it was a long process of getting that perfected and formulated. You're dealing with different minerals and vitamins like that, and how they mix and how it tastes. It took me a little while to perfect it. We had like several different flavors picked out. We had like a cranberry apple. We had this orange citrus that we went with. We had another one, I can't remember what it was, but the orange citrus just stood out. It was amazing. And so that one came out in like, it took a little longer it took us more like 16 weeks to get that going. We were supposed to get it in like January of 2020. And we got a little backlog with like label design. We wanted a little bit more basic, our label, and that's really cool. It has the LBA, which Live Beyond Average. We've been using that mantra for Run to Gun TV. If you guys are a follower of Run to Gun TV since like season 2, season 3, it's just kind of been our mantra and our mantra of our business. And that's why obviously this podcast is called the Live Beyond Average podcast. So we thought that was a perfect name for the multivitamin, to have it be a modern day drinkable multivitamin. So many people have, you know, buy one a days, which is great, but you buy the pills and you forget to take them every day, and pretty soon you have a cabinet full of like half empty pill bottles. So we wanted something that was a little bit more fun, right? It goes back to that we want supplements to be fun, we want them to be refreshing, we want them to taste great, we want them to mix well. And so we took it back to this drinkable multivitamin that you can drink, you can have fun with it, your kids can drink, family friendly. So that was what we were really focused on. It was supposed to be done, have it in like January, early February, or maybe it was like early February of 2020. We got slowed down with label design, wanted it to be a little different. We did a couple different takes on it. And then we finished it and it started producing. Then obviously COVID happened, you know, in March, so that slowed us down. We ended up not getting it in until I think like April. It was like several months behind what we thought we would, and for me personally, like it bothered me coming out with it because we were supposed to come out with it like January and February, right, as like a New Year's product. And the main focus, why we had to redo some of the label too, the main focus was like build a strong immune system. We had put in vitamin D3, like a good amount. Not very many vitamins have that much in it. What you need, a strong amount of vitamin C, a good amount of zinc. We put turmeric in it, which is a very strong antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, full B vitamin complex, and a few other ingredients. And we really wanted this to promote like, hey, this is what you really need to build a strong immune system. And of course, then COVID happens, and we don't get it until April, I believe. And I really had an issue with like trying to market this and still saying like, hey, this is what you need for a strong immune system because of COVID and how at that time so many people were coming out and trying to sell their products as in like, hey, this is going to protect you, all this stuff. And I just did not feel right trying to push that and sell from fear. Morally, that's not who I am, and that's not what I wanted to do. So I still launched the product, but we didn't talk. We really didn't market it hardly at all. We just kind of let it organically take off and let people, our current customers, buy it who are already buying Seeker. And we still haven't marketed it all that hard, but we've sold a good amount for it. A good amount of it is a great add-on product if you're already buying Seeker. So a lower price tag, nice add-on. And again, it tastes great. So easy to drink in the mornings or at night or both. I do a scoop in the morning, scoop at night. Kids do scoop every day. They do like a half scoop morning, half scoop at night a lot of times. If I actually remember to do both, if not, just give them a scoop. But try to break it up a little bit for them. And it's been a really fun product. I do have a second flavor that I'm about ready to start working on that. And so that brings us then into like, April again, you start doing it, you're looking at your funds, and I wanted to come out with this black cherry for the summer as a summertime flavor, but I know like you're looking at timelines, you're looking at 12 to 14 weeks on everything, right? And so I have a really cool story with the black cherry that I'm going to launch on how I came up with this, but I want my dad to be there because my dad's such a big part of that. So be on the watch for a future podcast on the big story behind the black cherry and how we came up with it. But I started working at it. The company shot me over the black cherry in Seeker, and they nailed it on the first take. I had to make no changes. I was ready to go. They nailed the color. Everything was awesome. So they were starting to vibe how I operated, and so their processes were getting quicker with me as well, which was really fun to work with good people like that. So we came up with that, and I think we had got it. I really wanted, obviously, June, July wasn't going to happen. I think I got it in like mid-August is when I got the black cherry out. So that was really cool. It might have actually been. I actually might have been in. Yeah, it was August. Anyway, it was late summer, so we got it out. Really excited about that. Our third Seeker flavor. So at that point, we had 3 Seeker flavors and a little bit on average multivitamin. At the same time I was working on all that, I was actually working on our first protein early summer in 2020. So in like May, I had started working on a grass-fed 100% whey isolate. So whey isolate, very fast absorbing. Anybody who has lactose issues usually doesn't have issues with the whey isolate because most of all the dairy, lactose, everything is removed. For the most part, most people who have lactose issue don't have issue with 100% isolate. There's a few that maybe have a heavy issue, but for the most part, that is the way to go if you have lactose issues. Grass-fed protein, which means the cows that we sourced the protein from were grass-fed. So we use American cows. We sourced it all from America, all American made, pretty awesome. And we came out with, again, I think I had them send me like what flavors, a vanilla confetti or something. The Freedom Pop that we came out with, which is kind of like the flavor of a bomb pop. I can't remember the third flavor we did, but tested out several flavors. Wanted this Freedom Pop out for 4th of July. Didn't quite hit the 4th of July. We made it out in August though. Again, everything's just a little bit slower with the current environment. So their production systems within their warehouses are just slower. But we got that out in August. Again, protein, very expensive to come out with. Looking at the bank account again, it was like, here's half the money. That one's going to wipe out the bank account, and hope I sell enough by the time you're done making this that I can pay for the rest. And I was doing the black cherry at the same time. So really a lot of what I've done and learned over the time is cash flow as well, on how I manage my cash. And for this first 14 months, I have literally managed it virtually with zero cash in my bank account. I build up cash, and once I have enough to start another project, I spend it and I start another project. I have taken $0 and put in my own pocket. I'm reinvesting every single dollar towards making new products, a little towards marketing. I definitely need, to spend more on marketing. That's one of the things I'm focused on this year. Thankfully, my brother, who is a great videographer, has videoed some of the stuff you see. He does it for me for some. I trade him off some secret products, right? I hook him up. So that's been awesome. But I definitely need to focus on spending a little bit more money on the marketing side of things. Thankfully, I do everything myself and with my brother in-house, where I don't have to spend money in that way yet. I hope I can just hire my brother full-time at some point. So I get the protein out, and we're continuing to sell the Secret, Live Beyond Average multivitamin. We pre-sell the protein, and I'm already working. And then again, I started working on, I think it was, at the same time, I'm kind of spacing off. At the same time, I was working on our first pre-workout too. So we had a lot of projects going all at once. So we're formulating our Secret Fortitude, which you're going to see here in the coming weeks. Fortitude is a stim-free, endurance-based pre-workout. Really awesome. It has a patented formula in there that is amazing for working out. You'll definitely feel better oxygen utilization, and lactic acid decreases with it. You will feel really good on those workouts where you're trying to really go hard and extend the intensity and extend the duration of those workouts. I tested it out all year long as I was prepping for my Nevada hunt. I had 2 hunts that I drew in Nevada really randomly, and I went solo, backpacked in. So I trained really hard over the summer. I tested it out. I took it on that elk hunt as well, and that high country antelope hunt that I was on. Tested it, worked phenomenal. Was really impressed with it. And then I was testing out 3 flavors. One I can't tell you because I'm going to use it for another product. I was testing out peach mango, and then I was testing out this lemonade that we're doing the lemonade in the Fortitude. So